What is going on, everybody? It is Luke Belly with the Sideline Scoop, and today I wanted to break down some NFL news that's come out in the past day or so. But right before I get into that, I would really appreciate if you guys could drop a like on this video because it really helps boost the video out onto the YouTube algorithm. And if you guys have yet to subscribe, make sure you do that and turn on your post notifications as well. So the first bit of news I want to cover today, we're going to be taking a look at Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers. So it came out yesterday that Ben Roethlisberger, along with 3 other players, were placed on the COVID reserve list because they were in close contact, considered a high risk, with Steelers tight end Vance McDonald. So apparently Vance McDonald tested positive for COVID-19 on Monday. And so because Ben Roethlisberger and a few other players also were in close contact with him, they are now considered, high-risk players. And so now Ben Roethlisberger is on that COVID reserve list. So now apparently these guys have to spend 5 days in isolation, away from the team. Can't come to practices and all that kind of stuff before they were able to basically before they can come back and play for this team. So here's a quote from Mike Tomlin. He said, "Those guys will be working remotely throughout the week and testing daily. As long as their tests come back negative, we believe that all 4 guys have an opportunity to be made available to us on Sunday." So that's good news for the Steelers, considering they are 8-0 right now, undefeated in the NFL. Of course, they had a very close game versus that Cowboys team. Honestly, I didn't think that game was going to be close because that Cowboys team is pretty bad, but the Steelers still did pull off that victory. But luckily, Ben Roethlisberger should be back on Sunday for that game, for this next game against the Bengals. But even if he's not back, Mason Rudolph will likely be the backup, the guy who will come in and play for Ben Roethlisberger. But honestly, considering they're facing a Bengals team who is 2-5-1 right now, I even think without Ben Roethlisberger, they could still obviously pull off that victory. But you would rather have Ben Roethlisberger as your quarterback versus that team. So the next part of news I'd like to cover has to do with a possible NFL playoff expansion. Before this season, as some of you guys probably already know, they decided to add an additional team to each conference to make the playoffs. So it used to be 12 teams in the NFL, 6 teams from each conference, and now it's 7 currently. So in the past day or so, the NFL owners basically voted on this plan to possibly expand the playoff teams even more. And the only way this will happen is if, COVID-19 forces cancellations to where they can't really reschedule games past week 17 or 18. And they actually voted unanimously to approve this playoff expansion, but this will only happen if they can't reschedule those games. So right now, it is still going to be 14 playoff teams total in the NFL. But if they can't schedule all these games and if more games get canceled in the next, couple months or so, they will expand that to 16 teams, so an additional 2 teams in the NFL. So the last bit of news I want to cover today has to do with former Packers player Tramon Williams. He has just been signed by the Baltimore Ravens. Of course, Baltimore has had lots of injuries in their secondary, so he's going to be coming in and replacing Khalil Dorsey, who just became the Baltimore Ravens' 4th cornerback placed on the IR. So the Baltimore Ravens obviously want to add some depth at that position, so they brought on veteran Tramon Williams. He's now 37 years old, so obviously getting up there in age, but he was with the Packers for a long time. He started in Green Bay, started in 2008, played there until 2014. Then he went to play with the Browns and the Cardinals for a couple seasons, then came back to Green Bay for the 2018 and 2019 season. Then this year, before the 2020 season, the Packers let him go because they decided Chandon Sullivan would be that slot cornerback, so they decided to let Tramon Williams go. But in his 159 games with the Green Bay Packers, he had 559 tackles, 30 interceptions, 125 passes defended, 6 forced fumbles, and 5 fumble recoveries. So he had a great career in time when he was in Green Bay. So now it's nice to see him back on another team, a very competitive Super Bowl caliber team with the Baltimore Ravens currently being 6-2 right now. So I wish him nothing but the best. But those are the 3 things I wanted to cover today on today's video. But if you guys enjoyed it, make sure you drop a like on the video down below. And if you want to see some more content, feel free to subscribe to the channel as well. And also, I created a Discord channel where it's basically a big group chat where we talk about Packers, NFL, tons of other things, and there are people in there, and I've been chatting with lots of people as well. So if you're into that and you want to sort of join the chat, join the community, I will leave the link to join that right down below. But that's all for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video.